Okay, so the cat in this movie, I propose to you, is completely fictitious, fake, not a real cat, and absolute. So yeah, this is my review for A Quiet Place Day 1. Let's get into it. Okay, so the general premise of this film is a prequel to A Quiet Place. You don't have to see A Quiet Place to be able to follow this one, and I don't think it even spoils any of the reveals in the first Quiet Place. Kind of like how with Star Wars, yeah, you could start off with the prequel trilogy, but if you watch the prequel trilogy first, you get some of the biggest surprises in the original trilogy spoiled. I didn't see anything like that here, so if you want, you can start off with this one and not have anything really spoiled about the first film. And essentially, the rough synopsis of this film is day one of this alien invasion, but you see it in like New York instead of the rural countryside like you saw with part 1 and part 2. So there is a subtext premise to this film, but I don't really want to spoil that. It focuses on the two leads, which is Joseph Quinn and her. I'm terrible at name pronunciation unless I hear it. So if someone tells me a name, I can pronounce it. But when I just see it written down, yeah, I have some issues. She was the standout in this film. Joseph Quinn does a decent job as Eric. I didn't have any real negatives about him. Both of them mess up at points in this film. Both of them redeem themselves at points in this movie. It's called being human, and I like that about them. They didn't feel fake or fictitious. And actually, you can make the argument that her character of Sam was very selfish in this film. But honestly, I felt it kind of worked in terms of her story, what was going on with her. And like, they did a really good job on, like, I've seen this actress in other things, and in this movie she looked like she was on death's door in a couple of shots, especially before the attack began, like with how like skinny her face is. Like, she had like no like meat on her cheeks in an earlier scene in the films. And her character Sam is a person who is in a hospice for a condition. I don't really want to give too much away, but she doesn't have a lot of time left. And she was the most captivating character in this film. The character of Eric, played by Joseph Quinn, it was like, I liked his character, but he didn't have quite the building and development that she did. He was really a supporting character for her. I thought that worked fine. The one thing I will kind of criticize about the casting is with the character that he plays. I'm terrible with pronouncing this guy's name particularly. He's like awesome in everything he's in. I love this guy anytime I see him pop up on screen, and when I saw him in this movie, he's like, oh cool, he's going to be in this for 29 seconds. Like, he's barely in this movie. I just kind of felt like, wait a minute, you got this actor and you don't really use him? Like, seriously, anyone could have done this role. You probably could have saved yourself some cash if you just got some random person to do this role, because it kind of felt like he was overqualified for this small part, for as little screen time as he got. I mean, I'm not going to hold it too much against the movie. It's just, if you get this actor, whose name I can't pronounce, you should really utilize him. But moving on to like the the goal of the two leads in this film, I can see how some people say that it was ridiculous and stupid and like, why would you have this kind of these characters' motivation? But like, honestly, looking at the character of Sam, I kind of get it. Like, I'm going to do a kind of somewhat spoil for another movie, Signs. If you haven't seen Signs, then, you know, skip over this part to here. But in Signs, there's a scene, the alien invasion is about to happen. They're like waiting for something to happen, and Mel Gibson's character just kind of goes, what does everyone want to eat for dinner? And his daughter says something outrageous. His brother says, no, we're just going to do sandwiches. And he goes, no, let's make that. Son, what do you want? Brother, what do you want? I'm going to have this. And it's just like, it doesn't make any sense, but in context of we might all die, it kind of makes sense. And in this movie, there's something kind of similar to that. And there's even a scene at the beginning where she kind of starts acting like a massive asshole to like the person who brought her group into the city. And like, yeah, in any other situation, I would say, man, she's being a massive dick. But in context to her situation and like her character development, I kind of can't blame her for being a little bit of an asshole in that scene. And looking at the grander scale of things, yeah, it kind of made sense why she wanted to go to this one place, why she wanted to do this one thing, as ridiculous as it seemed. And I kind of liked it, actually. So yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do? What, you're going to run for your life and then, you know, still be in the same situation in a couple of days? Or do what makes you happy? Now, one of the biggest issues of the movie is the film really misses out on an opportunity to kind of show people, discover for the first time how to stay alive against the creatures of A Quiet Place universe. If you haven't seen the first one, I guess they kind of explain it in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler, but these creatures hunt based off sound. And in this movie, they don't really show you someone learning that for the first time. It's just scene change, and then someone says, stay quiet, and then helicopters fly overhead saying, everyone stay quiet, they hunt based on sound. And it's like, that was it. It's like, you're doing something showing the first day. That would have been kind of cool to kind of see people like experimenting with discovering how to stay alive against these creatures, and they don't do that. Another weird thing is like the military acts really weird in this movie. I don't consider it a spoiler. It's like a very, very super minor spoiler, but I'm not going to ruin anything for you. In this movie, the military decides to destroy all the bridges going in New York, and then after they do that, they say, alright, everyone needs to evacuate New York. It's like, what? You just removed like 99% of the options of getting out of New York City. Why would you do that? And in other films like I Am Legend, they kind of have an explanation as to why they would destroy all the bridges, because it's like New York is ground zero, but it was very well established in this film that New York was not the only place that was hit by this alien invasion. And so it just didn't make any sense why they would have done that. They never explained why they do in the film, and it's just the military just does not really do logical things in this film. It's not a huge issue, but it was one that just kind of like was a pet peeve of mine. And then the cat. I mentioned it at the beginning of this video. The cat, it goes by the name Frodo in this movie, does not act like a real cat. Okay, it's like a fictitious fairy tale cat that a lot of cat owners wish they had as a cat, but no cat has ever acted like this in the history of mankind. I mean, one, the cat doesn't freak out about going into water. It's just kind of like, oh, this is fine. When are we going to surface? You know, like, literally the cat's like underwater, it's not freaking out. There's literally a scene where like, there's a creature like, right up next to the cat, and the cat's just like, It's like, how would the cat know? I mean, in a realistic situation, if I had a cat in my arms and this giant alien creature was in front of me trying to find us, I promise you, that cat would just go, meow! You know, that's how the cat would act. So, the cat was super unrealistic. Okay, I was laughing my ass off throughout numerous times in the movie at this cat, because it was just how unrealistic this cat was acting. And then the final moment of the film, I gotta give props to the filmmaker or the studio, whoever wrote this. It might very well be one of the best endings I've seen of a movie this year. I mean, just from the choice of music to how they cut to black to just the final moments, it was just like, I almost did a slow clap with just how nicely of a tight bow this ending was. I'm not saying it's the greatest ending of all time, but if I had to choose best ending of a movie this year, it might easily go to A Quiet Place Day One. So anyway, what I think about Quiet Place Day One, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun prequel. I didn't think that it was a prequel that you can't watch without watching the first one first. There's a lot of movies like that. You can easily start off with A Quiet Place Day One and then just go right into the Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Definitely a solid creature feature monster flick. I think most people are going to enjoy this film, and yeah, I'll probably get this at some point down the road. So anyway, that's been my review for A Quiet Place Day One. My name is Christopher O'Connell with 11 Hour Reviews, and shh.